Alright, it's about time I stopped holding out on y'all. Now, this has got to be the most requested video I've had in the past... How long ago was this? Like 3 years ago? Yeah, December 23rd, 2020. Last time I did a tier list video. So, obviously, so many things have changed since then. That was closing in on 4 years now. And I have not updated either of my tier lists. I used to maintain these pretty frequently. We used to do heroic grails, and we used to do also the 3 and 4 star demotes. There's just way too many units now, and it's way too tall of an order to actually tier every single unit that has released. So I'm going to save myself a little bit of grief, but I am not going to shortchange you guys. We're still going to take a look at pretty much the best units of each weapon class, and we're going to take a look at which one of those units are the ones you want to be focusing on building. So this is going to be a free-to-play guide on particularly swords in this video. We're going to do one for every weapon type, so lances, axes, bows, daggers, etc. We are going to just take a look at all of the standout demote heroes and also all of the standout heroic grail units. I'm going to give you guys some example builds on how you may want to get them set up, and also we're just going to take a look at stats, and I'm going to break down why those units are the ones you should be focusing on building if you are free to play. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Today is going to be swords, like I said. So our very first sword free-to-play unit that you're going to want to try to build is going to be Lapis. She came out at the perfect time. Also Dorothy as well, who we'll talk about in the bow video. Lapis and Dorothy came out at the perfect opportunity. They ended up at the very end of the version 6 update. Right now we're in version 7 update after Choose Your Legend 7. So Lapis and Dorothy were able to get really nice stat distribution and really high BSTs. And now they're also getting additional flowers. So they're just going to be looking even better. And compared to like all the other swords and bows in Dorothy's case and in Lapis's case for swords, they're just going to be the premier choices that you want to build. So Lapis is a 3-star and 4-star demote. She's not difficult to obtain, but she is very, very recent, so it's going to take a little time before you can get her to plus 10. She has a super boon on speed, and she is the fastest free-to-play sword unit. She has a base 45 speed. She gets double plus speed from her dragon flowers, and with the speed super boon, she is very fast. So, of course, I did a video earlier today talking about god swords. This is a just bread and butter build. Don't take any of the builds we're going to look at here seriously, by the way. They're just like example builds to show potential of what the units can be doing. But I wouldn't say 100% without a shadow of doubt that these are the best builds you want to use. So just keep that in mind. So Lapis, of course, for swords, I think is a must. And you should be trying to focus on building her as your copies come in. You want the super boon on speed, by the way, like I said. Okay, so next up for sword flyers, we have Tanith here. Tanith is also a 3-star and 4-star demote, so she's not going to be that difficult to get to plus 10. And she's been around for quite some time, so you probably do have enough manuals of her to get her to plus 10. So you're going to be wanting to run Arcane Crom's sword here. You're going to see Arcane Devourer on like almost every single one of these builds. It's just way better than Arcane Lift's weapon. There is one unit on this, out of all the units we're going to take a look at, that may be able to use Arcane Lift's weapon, but even on that unit, I have a different weapon equipped. So, RIP anyone who pulled for that Arcane weapon. Regardless, Tanith also has a super boon on speed, so you want to get her plus speed. And this is an example build. She's a flying type unit, so she's got a lot of niches that the infantry types can't do, such as soaring guidance and guidance 4. Basically, the idea would be to just throw her in the front and then have her as a beacon for your other units to jump to. And then she can like kind of hold down the fort a little bit in front with all the speed stacking she's doing, all the damage reduction she's getting. She gets null follow-up from this weapon. I gave her Pavis as well just to get some true DR that cannot be pierced. So, not too shabby from Tanith. Next up, we have a sword cavalry free-to-play option. Kempf is the best one. There's actually one that's better, but it's not a technically free-to-play option. I'll explain all of that in due time. But Kempf has got double super boons on attack and speed, so either or is fine, and then you would just give him the Ascended Floret for the other stat. Again, we're using Arcane Crom's weapon, and a lot of very recent skills you'll see here. Flared Sparrow, Flow Desperation, Alarm Attack and Speed, and Gale Force just make for a devastating combo. You're getting special ramping and -1 special trigger from Arcane Devourer. Combos very nicely with Flow Desperation, so you can hit twice in a row. You're ramping into Gale Force, you're getting Canto from Alarm, and then Flared Sparrow will just melt everything. So, a pretty strong player phase build. You can get away with this in Aether Raid's offense, or I don't know if I want to say Summoner Duels. This is not really meant to break walls that you're going to find in Summoner Duels, but the utility of being able to do all these attacks, he's going to be really good in PvE content, so that's where you're going to want to focus on using something like this. Next up, we have Sylvia, who is our free-to-play dance option for sword types. There's also Olivia as well. Olivia's got a little bit more defense, but all around, Sylvia's better. She's got more HP, she's got basically the same attack and speed, and then she has slightly more res, which could be seen as better, because you could run Sabotage Attack res on her if you wanted to. I'm not doing that here, just giving her basically 3 mobility permanently, and then we got Firestorm Dance 3, best dance support skill in the game, gives auto desperation, and then she can Canto away. So pretty solid stuff. Gale Force, if you wanted, you could also go like Wings of Mercy 4, have her jump in and then attack something, get to Gale Force, and then dance somebody. So there's definitely some tactics you can run with Sylvia, so she is certainly worthy. And there's a lot of support skills you can give her as well, like Infantry Pulse or Sudden Panic, or what else requires high HP? Like any of those high HP skills that will debuff the enemies can work quite well on Sylvia, because her HP is pretty good. And next up, we have another God Sword here. We have Ghee. So he's the earlier one from Lapis. Now, theoretically, Ninja Zehark is actually better than this guy, but Ninja Zehark does cost orbs to get to +10, and it's only by like 1 or 2 points of speed that Ninja Zehark is better, so there's not really much of a reason to go for Ninja Zehark over Ghee when you can just easily summon him on banners and get him a +10 that way without any orbs. So this is another example build for the God Swords. This one's running Vital Astra. On Lapis, I think I had Godlike Reflexes. So yeah, just another example build here. Okay, next up, we're going to be taking a look at some Grand Hero battle options. So these are the heroic Grail units you can go ahead and build. Lumera and Holst are both the highest scoring options here. They score even higher than Lapis. Lapis, unfortunately, did not have a perf weapon, even though her BST is able to match Lumera and Holst. So you're scoring higher. If you want a unit just for scoring, then Lumera and Holst would be your go-to bets. I would say Lumera is probably just a slight teensy-weensy bit better. Now, Lumera's got double super boons on attack and speed. Her own perf weapon is solid enough, so you wouldn't have to worry about giving her Arcane Devourer, although she does work quite well with Arcane Devourer, so it's up to you if you want to make that upgrade, but I'm more of the opinion that upgrades should be saved for units that have nothing to work with. So, Vital Astra, Special Spiral 4, just continuously loop Vital Astra and then nullify enemy DR. We got Oath 4 for jumping and stat bonuses. Finish 4, of course, for extra damage and then also healing. And then bonus doubler, because why not? So, there you go. And then for Holst, I did a little something different here with this build. We're going for Gambit 4 instead, because Holst does not have -1 special trigger. His weapon is okay. It gives him bonus doubler, all stats up 5, attack up 3, guard, and then I think that's it. But that's actually good enough, honestly. Give him double bonus doubler with the support from the Sacred Seal. We got attack and speed Oath 4, distant attack speed solo, and then Gambit 4, which with Aether is going to give him flat 50% DR, and then 15 true damage per hit. So Holst is not quite as fast as Lumera. He's still pretty fast. He does have a super boon on speed and res, but he's not really going to be able to compete completely with the other God Swords just because he might be like 5 points slower. So that is very significant. So I think Gambit 4 probably works a little better here. Okay, then we have Kempf over here. Actually, I don't know why I gave this guy Brash Assault 4. Should probably have Flow Desperation on this guy as well, just like I had on Kent. But, I mean, sure. We're just showing off more possible skills you could be running here. Yeah, and also he doesn't have the special ramping if you're going to run Venom Edge, which I think is worthwhile to run on him. It is a perf weapon, so you can certainly use it. You could also go for a Gambit 4 on this guy too, if you wanted to. And then instead of Gale Force, you would run a damaging special. But the combo of Alarm and Flared Sparrow and Gale Force is just too mouth-watering for me to pass up. I don't believe Kempf has any super boons at all. We can actually go ahead and check there. Yeah, no, his attack stayed the exact same. He only went up by, what, 3 points there, and then speed. Yeah, I do not believe this guy has any super boons, but just go attack and speed with him. He's pretty good in Pawns of Loki as well, where he can melt the enemies with Venom Edge. But that's such an asshole thing to do, because it's not really helping your score. It's just making it harder for the enemies to score good. So, you gotta be like a real sadist to be running Kempf in Pawns of Loki, even though he is good for messing with people in there. Alright, then we have Arden up next. We got 2 armored units here. Black Knight is actually in a really bad spot, but I thought he was worth mentioning anyway. Arden is still solid as a near-save unit. His stat placement at the time was insane, honestly. They just dumped everything in attack, speed, and defense for this guy, which is what he wants. So his weapon inflicts guard. It gives him a brave attack on both phases, and then also he gets attacking... I think he gets attack up 6 and then defense up 10. Something like that. So basically just give him Vengeful Fighter 4 so he gets the auto follow-up, negates enemy follow-up, and the special ramping so he can just ramp right into Ignis. We got attack and defense unity on here. You could run Sturdy Stance 3, but it doesn't really help so much because he has guard built in. And then attack and defense form there just to get even more instances of attack and defense. So he could be a solid near saver, but just stay very wary of melee units that do res damage, like dragon types. They are going to eat right through this guy, unfortunately. And then finally, we got Burger King over here. So, this is wonky as hell. You'll never see an armored unit built like this other than Burger King. So, he's got -1 special trigger, and the idea is to just run up to the enemies and smash something with Black Luna and then sacrifice him in the process. There's no way he's going to live anything anymore. He's got no DR. He's like a sitting duck out there, man. He is not going to stand a chance. But Special Spiral 4 Black Luna can probably kill something. And then with Colorless Feud, you can also turn off Fallen Maria's Miracle Effect. So you're guaranteed to maybe one-shot something. So, like a kamikaze build here, I would recommend, if you're going to do this, you want to have, like, Duo Asker on the team to just pulse him down to no-hit cooldown on Black Luna, and then have, like, a Leer on the team to give him charge, so he can just run up and kamikaze somebody and then get himself killed as well. It seems like a dumb idea, but in Summoner Duels, I mean... if you're trading blows with the enemy, that's already actually a positive, right? So he can do something, so I thought might as well mention him. And finally, we're going to take a look at some invested options here. Now, these are not free-to-play because they do cost orbs. However, their stat distribution and their uniqueness, I think, is enough to warrant mentioning them. So if you're interested in saving some orbs for some of these 4-star seasonal demotes, these would be the sword options of choice. So we have the Armored Hana from the Valentine banner. Pretty solid armored unit overall. She's got a very insane stat distribution, and she actually scores in the 200 bin, I believe, if you give her a super boon. She's got double super boons on defense and res. She doesn't have a perf weapon, but that's fine. She scores just as high as Vigard does, which is really nice. So, if you wanted to use her for scoring, you would just go plus defense or plus res, but I have plus attack and speed here for the actual, like, consistency with the build that I'm going for here. We've got Pavis, Arcane Devourer, of course, Hardy Fighter. It's just like a near-save build. So, there you guys go with Hana. Next up, we have Bride Flavia, who is also a 4-star demote. I have to mention this unit because if we compare her to Kent, who is the best non-orb... like, you don't have to spend orbs to get this guy to plus 10. He'll just come naturally, being a 3-star and 4-star demote. But if we take a look at him compared to Flavia, the difference is very apparent. She's got 5 more points of attack, and then she's got 4 more points of speed, and then she just, like, beats him on everything else. Well, they have tied defense, and then Kent's got better res, but that is completely irrelevant here. So, if you want to spoil yourself a little and get a really good cavalry sword unit, then... maybe consider spending a little bit of orbs on Flavia. I believe the average to get a 4-star plus 10 seasonal demote is roughly what is it, like 300 to 500-ish orbs, give or take. I mean, that could be as high as like 700. I think I did like 750-ish on Winter Hilda, and I only got her to +8. So you can get really shafted on the seasonal 4-stars, but if you have good luck, like I had with Ninja Zehark, you can probably get them to +10 in like 250-ish orbs. So a little bit of gambling there, but maybe worth the investment if you consider it to be. And then our final unit, and I don't even know what to say about this build. This is just very out of the norm, but maybe it works. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. So we have the Summer Leon. He's very interesting because we don't really get sword units with a build like this. So he's very slow. He has a dump stat in speed, and then he's all attack, defense, and res. So you can do some interesting things with him, like Wyvern Katana for the brave attacking and the defense boosts, and then give him Ether and Gambit 4, Distant Ferocity, so he hits harder, and then just pump up his attack as high as you can, and his defense and res, so he can maybe tank a shot. I don't really know if this works, but, I mean, it looks cool, and it's pretty funky. So I thought, might as well bring him up, and again, like I said, the uniqueness with his stat distribution really does pay him a little bit more respect than some of these other units. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about all of these sword possible build options that are free to play. Let me know if you're going to plan to build any of these guys, or if you have probably some of them built already. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do lances and axes, and we'll continue down the line and we'll do like bows and tomes, etc. So stick around. Instead of doing tier lists, this is how I'm going to do it now. We're just going to take a look at the worthwhile invested units, and I'm going to save myself a lot of grief by not doing a full-on tier list with all 1,000 plus units. So hopefully you guys like this new format, and this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.